quick one. This is kind of an update on the control arms I put on the 65L Camino. We're getting some grinding in the front when we turn, sometimes sharp, more on the driver's side than on the passenger side. So we thought it was the tire scrubbing a little bit, but it's not. I kind of had a feeling when I put this thing together. I noticed that the lower control arm pockets were really close to the rotors. When I got the alignment right, it didn't look like it was going to touch, but as you can see, it's been touching. So when I turn in a parking lot, it grinds. This pocket is grinding into the rotor, which we've already ruined that rotor, and this one too. Ruined this one too. This one's not nearly as cut. This one has a touch less camber, negative camber, than this one does, and I probably should have pulled some shims out of that one to lean the tire in, but I really didn't want to lean the tire in anymore. I don't like all that super negative camber. I wanted the wheel standing up straight. So, and I kind of set it up for when it launches, the wheel kind of, let me turn that light off. The wheel kind of straightens up instead of, these things are bad about cambering in. So I was trying to set the alignment up, and the way these newer control arms are designed, I think it's supposed to correct some caster and camber in these things. That's why I put the control arms on it. Even though these are the China junk ones off Amazon, I'm going to replace them with better ones. The ball joints I'm worried about on these things, and I just didn't have the money to buy like the $1,200 control arms when I put these on. These were like $200 or $300 or something, $250 for all four of them. So like all four of them were the same price as one of the good ones, or the American made ones. I don't even know if they're good because I haven't tried them. But anyhow, I'm gonna take the brake rotor off on that side and grind that little lip off that pocket on that lower control arm to clearance that. I should have done that before it ruined the rotor. So I'll end up putting a rotor and pads on this thing pretty soon, most likely. But because it'll start cutting that inside pad funny. But as long as it doesn't make any noise, it still stops great. I'm not gonna worry about it. I did have a little bit of squealing out of it yesterday when I was driving around. So you can see these brake rotors. We've had a ton of rain the last few weeks, and the brake rotors are a little rusty. I haven't been driving it all that much, but I'm gonna clearance both these lower control arms. But in order to do that, I get a grinder in there. I'm gonna have to freaking pull the wheel and tire and brake rotor off there, which sucks. But that's what we got to do. I don't know if you can tell on camera, but now that I've got the weight off the tires, I jacked it up a little bit with the jack. You can see the gap, the bigger gap in between the rotor and the control arm. I don't know if you can catch that in the camera or not. If I'm putting too much light on it or not. Anyway, you take the weight off the car, even though I've got it up under the control arm, so I really didn't move the control arms. I just took the little pressure off the top control arm and the tire. That's enough to give me a gap. So that gap I was looking at before we started driving it, I thought, that's enough. You know, we got enough clearance there. It's not going to touch, but this stuff flexes around just enough. I thought maybe the wheel bearing's loose when it first started touching, and I jacked it up out in the driveway with a floor jack and just checked it, and it was tight. And I was like, it's not that. I think it's just the geometry and the way they made these lowers. So we're gonna grind it out. They say these frames kind of flex around a little bit too. And I think that's part of it. When the weight gets on it, the frame's sagging a little bit. So we're going to do some stuff in the future to stiffen up the frame with a roll cage and some bracing. All right, we'll pop the... Let me collapse the piston just a little bit here. And we're going to take the caliper bolts out. You know, when I first started driving it, had the big wheels and tires on there, and they were making a lot of racket on the inner fenders up here. But it wasn't that bad, and I thought it was all tire, but I was wrong. Because when I put the skinnies on the front, what was funny was because the first couple of days I drove it with the skinnies, I didn't hear it. So I thought everything was good. And the more I drove it, I think the spring rate, or the springs kind of settled in on the new Viking double adjustables. And as they settled out, it changed the geometry on the camber enough to make them touch. Now I could have just raised it back up with the coilovers, but I like the way it sits in the front, so I didn't want to screw with my height. And considering I don't give a rat's ass about these control arms, because I'm going to replace them with American-made stuff as soon as I can afford it. Let's see how bad it screwed the pad up. Not bad, barely even got it. So that's where it's not touching though, really. So eventually this pad will wear down and this won't at the same rate. But it'll be all right. So eventually I'll probably put drilled and slotted rotors on it and some better pads, or maybe just totally change the front brakes out and then the front control arms at the same time. When the next time we do this, with some racing stuff, some lightweight stuff. I don't know. Any brake companies out there want to help an old boy out like me? I'm building hot rods. You know, I'm always looking for a sponsor. When you guys hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, it sure does help. Hey, leave a comment too. Don't forget, leave me a comment. Tell me what you think. Whether you think I'm an idiot or you think I'm doing the right thing, or just want to chit chat about the products I'm using or whatever. Leave me a comment. It helps the channel, and I like the engagement. So, all right, we'll get this dust cap off, get the cotter pin out, and get the nut off so I can slide that rotor out of the way. I know they make a tool for getting these caps off, but I've never bought one. I'm not the tool whore I used to be. I'd rather have hot rod parts than tools. So I definitely will buy tools that I need, but I don't ever buy tools that I don't need. And if I have a tool that I can use and improvise, I sure will do that. They probably have a tool for pulling these out, but I don't have it. Wheel bearing probably could have been a little tighter, but I don't want to run them too tight and cause a bunch of friction and drag. Alright, so we got to grind that bad boy off of there. I don't want to get any shavings from the grinder up on my spindle where the grease is, so I just threw a rag over it. It should be fine. And I guess I can stand the rotor up and show you the back side of it. I still won't lose my wheel bearings. Alright. Alright, so we're going to take the grinder. I do believe that will be enough, but we're going to do a little bit of trial real quick before I paint it. That was stupid, wasn't it? Well, considering I didn't cover that bearing up, I'm going to clean all this out real quick and repack it. And I'm going to go ahead and shoot some paint on it, because I'm pretty sure that's enough. If it's not, we'll just grind back through it. Some Krylon. I repacked this wheel bearing after shooting, covering the spindle up, but not covering the damn wheel bearing up. Alright. Cotter pin. Well, welcome back, Cotter. Welcome back. Welcome back. I don't want to stay in there. What's going on with that? The grease is hydraulic. Something. Well, if you don't want to stay in, you don't want to stay in. We'll see. Oh no, that may fall out. Well, I don't know if that's going to be enough or not. We're going to try it. We're going to try it and see. All right, brakes are back on. Clean a little bit of grease we got on the rotor off. It drags a little bit on the back side. Do-do-do. Do-do-do. On with the skinny. Oh. Torqued. Alright, we've got a pretty good gap. I'm going to take the weight back off of it. I'm not going to grind that side yet. I'll do it later. I got somewhere I got to be. And since I own this shop, I can use the lift whenever I want. Oh, this thing doesn't hardly ever touch. All right, still got a pretty good gap. A lot better than we had. I'm gonna need to go test drive it, so I thought I'd get my companion here and see if Bailey wants to go for a ride. You wanna go for a ride real quick? Come on. All right, booger. Come on, goofball. She's a sucker for a ride, and believe it or not, she's never rode an El Camino before. You go for a ride in El Camino? Get in, right here. Right here. Look, Bailey. Right here. Get in. Get in. Right here. Load up. Come on. Come on. In. Get in. She doesn't know what to do. Come on, booger. Look. Come on. Get in. Come on. We're going for a ride. You're going to ride in here. Come on. Come on. You got it. Come on. There you go. Good girl. Sit. You sit. All right. This angle. We'll see if we get any scrubbing. Bailey girl likes to ride in the El Camino. What do you think, Bailey girl? I think the El Camino needs a set of plugs. I have not put any plugs in it. Plugs look like they're as old as the El Camino is. And I bought some gas. Bought some new oil, not gas. Bought some new oil and filter and some spark plugs. And I think we may go ahead and put those in it before I rebuild my little 350 to stab in here. Been debating on going back and forth on what I'm going to do with cylinder heads. I think I'm going to go with some AFR as-casts. They're 195 head, and I'm going to do some port and polishing myself because the as-cast heads come with everything that the race heads do. They just aren't CNC'd. They're cast, but they have a pretty nice casting process. So I think I'm going to just, they're only like $1,000 for a brand new set of heads. So the little L98 heads or L98 heads that come on, little Corvette heads that come on that little ZZ3 crate motor I've got, just aren't going to cut it for what I'm wanting to do. And I put those things through the ringer with nitrous for years with that little motor. So I have burned them once, and I had them welded up and repaired. But I mean, they'd be fine for a little street motor, but I want to make some more power. So that's what we're planning on doing. We just went through a cul-de-sac, by the way, and I'm jibber jabbering, and I didn't get any grinding. And we'll go to the wheel cam and double check it. All I'm getting is Bailey's collar clanking off my metal door over there. I should have probably put her leather collar on so the chain wouldn't. All right. Did you have fun on the ride? You didn't? All right. Well, that took care of our little grinding noise. Thankfully, every time I turn into a parking spot or go around a cul-de-sac or turn into the driveway or whatever, you'd hear that, and that's gone. So probably just leave the rotor like that for now and see how the pad likes it, and upgrade the rotors when I've got to change them. So stop's fine, steer's fine. This whole thing is pretty fun to drive. I can't wait to throw some power in it. Thanks for watching. You know, do all that YouTube stuff for me. Appreciate you. Peace.